What's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing a Numeron deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this one for you guys because this deck is an extremely powerful going second OTK deck. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become our notification squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. Like getting your name description in a single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your Patreon. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Numeron Wall. Numeron Wall is an amazing 3-of in the deck that actually helps us get to our copies of Numeron Network, with the ability of you control no cards except Numeron Wall. Quick effect, you can send this card from your hand or field to the graveyard to activate a Numeron Network directly from your hand or deck, which is an awesome effect to instantly get to Numeron Network so we can go in for our OTK. This card also protects you from OTKs because when you take battle damage, you can special summon this card from your hand, and if you do, in the battle phase, which is a great effect to basically just end the battle phase so we don't get OTK'd, so we can get back to our turn and go in for game. We then play 3 copies of Planet Pathfinder. Planet Pathfinder is definitely a 3-of in the build because this card also helps us get to our copy of Numeron Network, because you can tribute this card to add a field spell from your deck to your hand, which is an awesome effect to instantly get to our copy of Numeron Network. We then play 3 copies of Lava Golem. Lava Golem is amazing as a 3-of in the build to basically just tribute over 2 of our opponent's monsters so we can have a safe target to swing into with our copies of our Numeron Gates to go in for game. This card is amazing 3-of in the build and also does 1,000 points of burn damage, which is really nice. We then play 3 copies of Gameciel. Gameciel is really good in this going second deck to basically just tribute over 1 of our opponent's monsters to again give us a safe target to swing into, and again sometimes you do need to just give your opponent the turtle so we can swing in for game. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom's definitely a 3-of in the build just to stop your opponent from touching the deck. We then play 3 copies of Mulcharmy Perilia. Perilia is really good as a 3-of in the deck, but you can play Dark Hole over this card as a great board breaker alternative, but this card is really good just to help us draw cards so we can get into our copy of Numeron Network and go in for game. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start with a single copy of Terraforming. Terraforming is definitely a 1-of in the deck to basically help us get to our copy of Numeron Network. We then play a single copy of Called by the Grave. Called by the Grave is great in the deck as a 1-of to basically just stop your opponent from hand trapping you while you're going in for all of your plays. We then play a single copy of Harpy's Feather Duster. Harpy's Feather Duster is really good in the deck. Basically just deal with your opponent's back row so we can swing in for game. We then play 2 copies of Lightning Storm. Lightning Storm is really good in the deck because it deals with your opponent's back row, or it deals with the attacks your monsters your opponent controls, which is a great effect just to help you break your opponent's board. We then play 3 copies of Raigeki. Raigeki is amazing in the deck because it's such a classic card, and it's amazing just to basically out your opponent's monsters so we can swing in for game. Plus this card is just such a classic board breaker and so cool to be able to play in this deck. We then play 3 copies of Numeron Network. Numeron Network is one of the most important cards in the entire deck. This card has the ability, during your main phase, you can send a Numeron normal spell card that meets its activation conditions from your deck to the graveyard. And this effect becomes that spell's effect when it would be activated, which is a great effect to be able to use their copy of Numeron Calling, so we get to summon out all 4 of the Numeron Gates to our side of the field and go in for game. This card also has an insane ability that Numeron XZ monsters you control can activate their effects without detaching materials so that they can double their attack points so you can go in for game. We then play 2 copies of Numeron Calling. Numeron Calling is really good as a 2-of in the build to be able to send a graveyard off your copy of Numeron Network so we can summon out all of our Numeron Gates and go in for game. We then play 3 copies of Memories of Hope. Memories of Hope is definitely a 3 of in the build because this card actually lets us draw 4 cards, because when you have all 4 of the Numeron gates on your side of the field, they're all number monsters, so this card will actually give you a draw 4, which is insane. We then play 3 copies of Forbidden Droplets. Droplets is really good to basically just turn your opponent's field off and half the attack points of your opponent's monsters, which is really good so we can just swing in for game. This card is amazing in the deck overall and just really good in the deck to break your opponent's board and make sure that you're going to be able to swing in for game by negating the attacks or negating the effects of your opponent's monsters and halving their attack points. We then also play 3 copies of Limit Removal. Limit Removal is a hilarious card in the deck and just guarantees you're going to OTK your opponent because all the Numeron gates are actually machine monsters, so you can drop this card and double their attack points, and then they also double their own attack points every time one of them attacks a monster, which is insane to basically just go in for game with massive attack point monsters using Limit Removal to guarantee the OTK, and it's such a powerful card just to double the attack points of all the Numeron gates. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, we're going to start with a single copy of C1 Numeron Chaos Gate Sonya. This card is really good to be able to play as a 1 in the deck. So you can actually overlay this card on top of your copy of number 1 without even using a rank up magic spell, which is amazing. This card is able to, you can also XZ summon this card using a copy of number 1 you control as a material, transferring all of its materials to this card. And in this card's XZ summon, you banish all monsters on the field, which is a great effect to again break the board. Also, once per turn during your next standby phase after this card was banished, you can actually special summon this banished card. Then, if Numeron Network is on your field spell zone, inflict damage to your opponent equal to the combined attack of all banished XZ monsters, which is usually going to be about 3 with this card. So you're going to do about 3,000 points of burn damage to your opponent, which is really good. We then play 2 copies of Gate number 1, 2 copies of Gate number 2, 2 copies of Gate number 3, and 2 copies of Gate number 4. The reason you play these cards at 2 each is because they all do the exact same thing, which is they cannot be destroyed by battle, and at the end of the damage step, if this card battle an opponent's monster, detach a material from this card, double the attack of all Numeron monsters that you currently control until the end of the turn. So when you attack with 1, it's going to double the attack of all the rest of them, plus itself to boost them up to 2,000, and then 4,000, and then 8,000, which is insane to go in for game with this simple engine in this deck, and it's so powerful to be able to play, especially the cards like Limit Removal that will initially boost them 2, 4, 8, and then all the way up to 16,000, which is insane to just guarantee you're going to get that OTK with cards like Limit Removal. We then play a single copy of Zeus. Zeus is really good because we play so many different XZs in this deck to be able to basically just summon out a copy of Zeus and board wipe the field. This card is amazing in the deck overall and just helps out in certain situations. You're usually going to make this card on top of a copy of Typhon that you make, but Typhon's just really good in certain situations. We then play a single copy of Typhon. Typhon is so powerful in this deck to be able to summon out to your side of the field just in certain situations that you just drop a board break against your opponent. They still have responses, so you can make a copy of Typhon on your side of the field and bounce cards and use this card as a skill drain for monsters that have 3,000 or more attack points, which is amazing, and helps you make your copy of Zeus on the following turn, which is really nice. We then play a single copy of Underworld Goddess. Underworld Goddess is amazing in the deck as a 1-of to out towers like boss monsters. For the link monsters, we basically just use them as options that we can make after the OTK. If we can't OTK our opponent, and we still have all 4 gates on our side of the field, we can link them away for some of these other cards. But Underworld Goddess is really good in the deck as a 1-of to basically just link away all of your different monsters, all 4 of the Numeron gates, plus a monster your opponent might have on the field, to be able to summon out your copy of Underworld Goddess to guarantee that you're going to out of towers like boss monster. We then play a single copy of Megaclops. Megaclops is really good to be able to make with all 4 of the gates, or 3 of the 4 gates on your side of the field, as this card has the ability it's unaffected by other monster effects except those of XZ monsters, and also it cannot be destroyed destroy by battle except with an XZ monster. And this card actually comes out at 4,000, making it super easy to summon out to your side of the field using 3 of the 4 that you summon out with your copy of Numeron Network and Numeron Calling. We have a single copy of Magnite, Crusadia, Avermax. Avermax is really good to be able to summon out to your side of the field. It is such a tank of a card, and it's just really powerful to be able to make. Just in case you don't OTK, you can make this card or your copy of Megaclops on your side of the field. And then just in case we need to draw, we do play a single copy of Skulldred. Skulldred is amazing in the deck as a 1-of, as this card lets you draw 4 and then put 3 back, which is a really cool ability. So, that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you did enjoy it. This deck is super fun to be able to play. If you guys have never played Numeron before, it's a really cool deck, and it's just amazing to be able to summon out all the different Numeron gates to your side of the field and go in for game. And it's very easy to do by just getting to your copy of the Numeron Network field spell. So, that's going to do for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell in there so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.